So, you want to become a graphic designer, but you don't want to have to pay exorbitant amounts for college and waste 3 years of your life. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how I was able to become a successful graphic designer at age 21 without any formal education, and I'll be sharing with you guys how you can do it too. So stay tuned. Yo! Well, before we get started, I just want to say this video is not meant as a flex, like to say, I made it as a graphic designer. It's not like I make a whole lot of money or anything like that. I think I was able to do it in a reasonably short time frame, and if I were to do it again, there were some things that I would probably do a little bit differently. So hopefully you guys can benefit from my knowledge and my experience and, you know, help you in your own journey. So here we go. So right off the bat, I think there are three main things that you want to look at. So first one is practice. Get a lot of reps in, get a lot better. Secondly is you want to be trying to get experience, getting a portfolio. And lastly is you kind of want to build your own personal brand, your reputation, get more people to know who you are so that then you can attract more clients. Number one, practice. Even though I didn't study graphic design at uni, I was always kind of doodling in the back of my books since a very early age. I guess I had a compulsion to design, to draw, did a lot of art as a kid. Looking back, I sort of at the time didn't really realize it, but I was always like drawing my name differently, my initials in kind of interesting ways. I didn't even really know what graphic design sort of was back then, or logo design. Even without knowing that, I had kind of been doing that on my own anyway. If you're getting into design, you haven't had that practice leading up, it's not to say that you can't do it. What I would just say is try to do something every day. Set yourself a little challenge. You know, do some sketching on a particular idea. Gradually over time, you'll get better and better. One thing when you are practicing with logos, I would say really prioritize quantity of ideas over quality of ideas. If you're worried about every idea being a good idea, you're just not gonna have any ideas at all. When I draw an idea, when I've got something in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, that could work, and I draw it. I don't know if that's gonna be good before I draw it. Do you know what I mean? So what you wanna be doing when you sit down to draw, it's just letting your mind organically jump from one thing to the next. Definitely don't judge your ideas, so just let your ideas flow, let them come naturally. Don't try to think like, oh, that's a bad idea, that's a good idea at any point yet. Just draw, spend a lot of time drawing. As a designer, sketching and ideating with a pen and pencil is like your biggest asset. So when it comes to practicing, I would like put the biggest amount of preference on that, especially because, you know, if you're coming up, you don't need Adobe Illustrator to sketch. You don't need any program or anything, you just need a pen and a pencil. Real practice, getting an eye for it, coming up with ideas. Sketching is gonna be the biggest bang for your buck. If you guys wanna learn how to get better at sketching as a logo designer as well, maybe I'll make another video on that. Other things that you want to be doing is going to YouTube all the time to Skillshare and brushing up your technical skills. So there are some really good courses on Skillshare by Aaron Draplin. But you can really learn Illustrator completely on the internet, and I think it's actually better. Back when I was in high school, like none of the teachers knew anything about any of those programs, so I just kind of got used to teaching myself anyway. But you've really got to learn to be motivated to teach yourself, which I think is a really good skill that not going to uni or college teaches you, because you can't rely on someone else to kind of spoon feed you the learning. Are you gonna stop meowing? Robert would really like it if you stopped meowing. Number two, experience, portfolio. Chances are you're not gonna be able to get clients right off the bat. How do I build my portfolio, recognize, get a reputation, and kind of kick things off? You really are in a pickle. So here's what I would do. You definitely want to take on free projects to build your portfolio, or take on projects that aren't guaranteed. So there are a couple of websites where you can go. People will put up, I need a logo for my business. Then a bunch of designers will, you know, chuck in their entries to the competition, and whoever wins gets the prize money for that particular entry, which is usually somewhere between, you know, like sort of 300 to 500 US dollars. So if you win one of those, that's actually, you know, a pretty good gig, especially starting out. So I would spend a bit of time on websites like 99 Designs, Design Crowd. Both of those you can enter in design competitions and kind of build your portfolio that way. Now, one thing that I definitely found can be very demoralizing, mainly because those people on those websites don't have any idea about design and tend to choose the like really bad design. So you're gonna have to learn not to get demoralized when your design isn't chosen, and sort of treat this less as I'm actually trying to get money from it, because you're not really gonna get that much money from it. What it is is there real projects and real briefs. So, you know, when you later show that on your portfolio or on your social media, that like looks like a real project. So one thing that a lot of people will do, which I don't think is as good a use of your time, they'll kind of just make up briefs for themselves or something. I'll like make a logo that's combining a cat with a chat app, and then they'll just make that into a logo. And then if you see that, it's quite clear that that's not actually a real business and this person has just kind of made up this idea. But it's definitely not going to look like as professional and as real as if you do actual projects. And granted, you're not kind of going to get that experience one-on-one with a client, but they will have real constraints, like you need to include this in the logo needs to have kind of this vague style, so you will get some experience working to a brief, which is really important starting out. You know, it's easy to just kind of make whatever you want to make, and that's really not what design is about. It's about making things to a brief and recognizing the problems and the needs and catering to that. So you're going to get more experience doing that on websites like the aforementioned. Another option here, this is not what I did personally, but you can also go to websites like Fiverr, like Upwork, freelance websites, and you could set your fee for the design really, really low so that you get clients to start out. As you go, kind of get it higher. Only thing that I think is a problem there, obviously, you know, people who want a logo for $5, chances are they're going to be difficult to work for and they're going to want something really ugly and crap anyway. So you could get yourself into a pickle there. Starting out, I would definitely not completely dismiss websites like Fiverr and Upwork. Last thing that I would also do, I haven't done this personally either. In hindsight, it's something that I think I probably should have done. It's probably one of the most effective ways. I would go out into your community. I would find someone who's got a bad logo or a bad business card or a bad pamphlet or something. I would design a new one for them, go in and show them, and then say like, look, here's this new business card I designed for you. Would you like to pay me to use it? Go out into your community and try and get some work that way. Definitely family and friends is another really good way to start getting work. So if you've got family or friends who are starting up a business or a side venture or something and they need a logo, offer to do it for them for free or for almost nothing if you're starting out. Then if you do a really good job on that, they'll tell other people about it. I would definitely put the word out that you are doing graphic design. If they're not sort of aware that this is something that you're going to do, then they're not going to be able to throw your name in the mix if they know anyone who needs graphic design. Be open to your friends and family about the fact that you're doing graphic design and sort of let them know, like on social media or something maybe, and say, hey, I'm doing graphic design. If anyone needs a logo or a brand identity, whatever it is that you're doing in particular, you know, feel free to reach out for me. Another thing you can do too is find people, influencers, social media and such, and offer to do work for them for free to get exposure. There are a lot of different ways, but essentially what it boils down to at the beginning is you're going to have to work for not very much in order to kind of build up that body of work before you have the trust and the reputation to start charging properly for your work. You know, if you're younger and you don't have to pay your way, then that's obviously fine. But if you're a little bit older, then you're probably going to want to get a part-time job and kind of balance the two, because at this point you're not going to be making any money. Thirdly, you're going to want to try and build your brand on social media. This is probably where my area of expertise comes in all this. Probably the thing that I've had the most success with is building my brand on social media. So what you're obviously going to want to do is set up social media accounts on all the relevant platforms. I think the big ones that you definitely want to hit are obviously Instagram, Dribbble, as well as another social media. Behance is a great one to put your portfolio on, probably something that I've slacked on a little bit in all honesty. And then sort of lower down the rung, you've got TikTok. That's actually where I've had the biggest success, Instagram and TikTok. So on TikTok, I currently have 45,000 followers. Maybe some of you have actually come from there, but I've actually been able to get a lot of clients through TikTok who see my work on TikTok when they're just there to be entertained. And then later on, they might think, oh, I need a graphic designer for this thing, or my friend needs a graphic designer. They'll throw my name up there because they found me on TikTok. So don't dismiss social media like applications that don't seem to be a place where people would go to look for a graphic designer. Like that's not always how someone's gonna find you know what I mean? Like they're gonna find you there when they were just going there to be entertained, and then that will stick in their mind later, so that when, you know, someone needs a recommendation for a graphic designer, your name gets thrown in the mix. LinkedIn as well, definitely. I should have probably put that further up the list. LinkedIn has great organic reach at the moment. Just sort of recently started posting my work there and I've seen pretty good things with LinkedIn as well. Facebook as well, you can do Facebook if you like. Already got the content. If you're posting stuff to LinkedIn and Instagram, that same content will work on Facebook. All you have to do is just hit post. Now, with social media, the key here is consistency above all else. You want to prioritize posting content daily or every weekday. If you can't do that straight out of the gate, that's all right. I would just always be trying to like build up the frequency with which you post. But these social media platforms really favor sort of momentum, recency, and consistency. I've certainly noticed with my Instagram, when I'm able to post very consistently for a period of a couple of weeks, that's when my account really starts to build up a bunch of followers. In order to do this, say you do one particular project, there's a lot of different mileage that you can get out of that one project. So what you want to do is you might want to post one post which is all your sketches, throw that into a nice mock-up. That's one post. Another post will be the final design, just in a vector format. Then you might get another post out of a bunch of mock-ups, or maybe you kind of show the grid work for that post. Or in my case, what I've done a fair bit is kind of just made a little process video out of me making the logo. That's what I've been posting on TikTok. That's had a lot of success for me as well. So right there, you've done one project, and then just with a bit of like post-production and a bit of kind of creativity in thinking, how can I get the most mileage out of this one post? Then you've got yourself, you know, maybe 4 to 7 posts out of that one project. So I think when a lot of people, you know, find it very hard to post so regularly, it's because they're kind of limiting themselves with their posts. It's not about like spreading your work really thin and kind of padding it out. If you're creative with it, there are a lot of different ways to present your work such that you can get more mileage out of it. Another way to get more content out there is don't just limit yourself to like client projects and whatnot. I do a lot of kind of little design challenges and whatnot. There's kind of less rigorous criteria. You can take a lot less time on them, and then that becomes the more content. And actually that's a lot of the content of mine that does really well, is when I've done these little challenges like making a logo for every letter of the alphabet, redesigning a logo for a famous company, or something along those lines. Those tend to do quite well. They tend to be a lot quicker, and so that's more content that you can get at. And it's also a good way to keep refining your skills. With social media, it's really key that you engage with your fans all the freaking time. So every comment that you get, you want to reply, connect with other designers, you know, send them messages and stuff, say I'm a fan of your work, be commenting on other designers' work all the time, go to relevant hashtags, your niche. So for me, it was a bunch of like logo design type hashtags. Go to those hashtags, comment on recent posts and popular posts, and just send your tendrils out as far as you can so that you can make as many connections with people as possible. Reply to people's stories, react to people's stories of those who you follow. Then chances are that they'll see that and they'll reply, and you can kind of build a relationship there as well. So try to build like relationships and connections with as many designers as you can, and kind of get your face out there through comments as much as possible so that they will come back and they will see your stuff. Now, things like this don't obviously happen overnight. So like I mentioned, with consistency, you've also got to be patient. So you've got to really think, you know, this is the long game. I'm not gonna get clients off of social media right away, but over time, that momentum will really start to build if you're consistent with it, and then you'll start to get more and more client inquiries through your social media channels, and you start to build more of a brand and reputation. Even if you're getting a lot of clients through your website or, you know, through local businesses and whatnot, it's still really helpful to have that social media brand there. Then they can go like say, oh, okay, cool, let me check them out. And they'll go on Instagram and they'll say, oh, he's got 5,000 followers. That's, you know, he's obviously pretty legit. So it really gives you that credibility that you want moving forward with design. All right, well, that's basically been the video. So there you have it. You've practiced a bunch, you know, you're refining your skills, kind of building up a portfolio, and then starting to translate that into building more of a personal brand. Basically from there, you just got to continue on the hustle, working that part-time job like I used to at Subway, you know what I mean? I was really living it up. Let me grab that Subway cap. So yeah, over time, you'll gradually get more and more exposure and people will start approaching you. Yeah, I mean, definitely build a website and do all that kind of other stuff and network within your community and all that. But the point here is really all the stuff that I've mentioned. Stay at it, go hard. Another key thing that I should mention here is definitely be very frugal. Like, the reason that I'm able to live off my design is because I don't buy dumb shit. You know, I would rather not earn as much as maybe I could if I worked a full-time job somewhere else, but I'm like growing my business and doing shit that I actually enjoy. But in order to do that, you have kind of got to make a sacrifice. Don't buy dumb shit, don't buy a bunch of clothing. I know like some designers like to buy their fresh Nike kicks and shit. That ain't me. Hopefully it's not you either. But yeah, when the time comes, quit your job, and then yeah, you're living the dream of a struggling designer. Hopefully not struggling too much. Anyway, let me know if the video was helpful for you guys. It was kind of a bit of a ramble, bit of a rant. You know, it's a topic that I thought would be important to share, and something that 8 months, 10 months ago was something that I probably would have got a bit of value from. Let me know if you want more videos talking about my experience with design, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Pow! So in this video, I'm going to break down how I became a successful freelance graphic designer and quit my job at Subway at age 21 without any formal education, and how you guys can too.